Being devalued is invalid. Have you ever lived your life? And by the way, just to interrupt, do like, do subscribe. Trust you love the content. Have you ever had, and I'm sure everyone have, the horrid moment where you're being devalued and you know it? You know the person doing this is they don't see the thing is that they don't do it on a level that is where you can get over it very quickly. It is much more deeper than this because it attaches itself to areas in your life that everyone has. That's insecurities. Okay. They can cue in like a bullseye without even saying a word. They can cue in and they can devalue you. I've been in a few situations where I've experienced that from certain people, and whether it be in a work scenario, but just recently, one situation where I was doing some work for this person, and this person felt that they needed to show me how to do something that was rather simple, and because the person entered the room, it became more difficult to perform the task because what she brought into the room was a projection of I will show you before she actually had the facts that I already knew how to. Now, what's powerful about what people, when they do this kind of stuff in the avenue of projection, they can weaken your power, your confidence, your your atmosphere. They can corrupt it by their immediate entry into your spiritual space. They bring their own spiritual space into the environment and they confuse the clarity. And what they bring is the devaluing. The reason why they do this is because they already have assumed, not only on you, but on other people, that this is how they are going to operate through life. They make up their mind. At some point, the feeling that you feel when someone devalues you, it is a strange, odd, insulting, weird, weakening, demeaning. It has so much ugliness to it. They would have had these moments in their life. But the thing is about two types of people I see I'm learning to see is that those people who are able to get over situations, get over themselves, and move on and not hold on to grudges. Okay? There are other people who don't know how to do that. They live with an internal vow. And though you don't see the years that it would take them to do this, they become very good to make sure they're going to tear someone else down in hopes that the awful feeling that they carry deep down inside, okay, will somehow get placed on the other person and they can get resolved by it. And the other thing they do by doing what they do is a sake of vengefulness. They replay the tapes of past pain. And what they do by devaluing you, demeaning you, is they change the environment as if they're back into something else. And you're basically a player in their show. And I've seen this. And that's what helps you to overcome because you're dealing with mental illness in a very big way. Okay. The thing is, what happens within the triculation of the brain takes them back, and just as to how they would have liked to react in the moment they were being devalued by the amount, the surge, the amount of vengefulness, spitefulness, the amount of making the other person feel horrible about themselves for doing what they did, they instead place it on you. So you end up playing a present tense and a past tense show with that person. And when they go into the act, it's like the show begins now. Is that you, without even asking or becoming, you're basically unwilling participant. They don't care. They press past the boundaries of respectability. That's where people learn to be decent and respectful with each other. They press past that, okay? Because what they're looking for in so many ways are blood. Now, as they're growing and whatever they had to learn or whatever, see, some people don't know how to handle hurt. And that's understandable. But I've heard other people say hurt people. These are all fine and dandy, but when whoever is doing whatever they're doing, they don't, in a large scheme of social healthiness, they have no right to do what they're doing because you didn't ask for it, you didn't sign up for it, and you are definitely not going to validate it. There's comes in the other word. Their devaluing is invalid because basically what they're doing has no value whatsoever. And the very spelling of the word invalid also goes with the same spelling, invalid. Okay? They are crippled in their development. And just to give you a word of inspiration is that whoever chooses to devalue you is an invalid. Only invalids devalue people. And what they do while they're doing what they're doing is invalid. It has nothing to do with what you can do. Look, you can be in a situation, you can royally mess up, okay? You can be in a situation and you know, like if you're well-meaning in what you're doing, you know you're living your life, you're not doing something. See, these people like to treat their devalue and what they're doing on you, and they'll use any snippet of that present tense experience to go into their act. Okay, they look, they're looking subconsciously for, um, they're looking for experiences. They're looking for moments. They can jump on their high horse and come riding in with their swords drawn. And they always take what they take personally and an affront. Even though you didn't mean nothing, you blah, 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 you're just kind of like sitting there, right? When they switch off and they switch on another set of lights, they become a totally different person. You're role playing at that point. The serious part about the whole thing is that they they go into the zone of occultic. And that's where, and I've seen this. I know this one. I've had with a few people, but you'll be chatting away with these kinds of people, and I've seen it a few times. I've seen their eyes, something in their eyes that for a moment, like not even a moment, it's like a split 2, 3 seconds while they're in a conversation with you. I'm talking outside the devaluing stage here, but I'm just talking just in what you would consider a normal back and forth conversation. You will catch them switch off and switch on their inner vengefulness. And something in her eyes, it goes sharp. The sharpness is in her eyes is not a friendly tone. It's a very, the Bible says there's one who speaks like the piercings of the sword, but the tongue of the wise promotes health. Okay? There's something in certain people's eyes that when you see them, there's a sharpness. I even call it shark eyes, and they don't even know. See, that's what's called about when the narcissists drop their masks, right? But if you observe carefully, you will see some people switch on and switch off. Another thing, if you carefully observe these kinds of people, and I've seen it in pictures and I've also seen it with people, something about their index finger. The way they will raise up that index finger when they're getting very emotional about something they're talking about. If you watch closely, it's a pointing finger. It's an accusing finger. It is a finger that fault finds. It's a fault finder finger. And the thing is, what makes them so you need to be very careful of these people, is that you're really dealing with people who are invalids. Their literal interpretation, however they would see you, and I trust that when I say you, I'm talking you, there's value and up. You're basically decent. You follow after common decency, manners. You know what is appropriate. You know what is appropriate in any given situation. You're not the kind of person that makes other people feel bad in any situations. Correction can be given, but if it's given with grace, it says that harsh words stirs up anger, okay? But the soft answer turns away wrath. When you have a strong reaction towards an invalid who is literally insulting you, and whether they know what they're doing or not, it's a direct and it's a very natural response, and that's not thing you pay attention to. If you find a response by how that person's make you feel is in proportional to, is how can I put it? It is directly related to the amount of heat that you feel in the inside while they're doing what they're doing. It means you're dealing with an invalid, a demeaning person. And the craziest thing about it, I'll just leave you with this. One thing you'll know for sure is you're dealing with definitely someone who is definitely an invalid. I'm talking mentally, we're not, this ain't healthy. They will switch around right after you confront them that you didn't appreciate the way they spoke to you, and they'll turn it around, and the very thing that you will basically indicate that they're being, especially if you call them arrogant, you say that you're rude for the way you're speaking to me right now, they will turn it around and they will tell you that you're the one who's being that way. And that's when you shake your head and you have to just simply walk away with one fact. Note that person that you're dealing with an invalid. It means that their representation of you is flawed. Their sight is sore and they're invalid. They're not worthy of any kind of further discussion, or they're not worthy of their valuation of you. So you all have a good day. Thank you.